paddle tracks that are getting comp cut. Today we're comp cutting some 1650 paddle track sand tires. Trying to take as much weight off as we can. So all the spare rubber in between each paddle is gonna come off. And we're taking it right down to the cords. Tires were previously just heated up. They're about between 250 to 275 degrees. That one went in a little deep. It's all right. Tell you what, weather is either super hot or super cold. Today I'm sweating like crazy. These tires are hot. You still gotta push pretty dang hard to get through these tires. If you're in the market for some comp cut sand tires, these ones are headed down to IPS Motorsports in Yuma, Arizona. You can also get them at Price Designs, Force Turbos, Grip Kings, Evo Power Sports, Gilmore Off-Road when they're at Glamis. Obviously they're not there right now, but if you go up to St. Anthony, Idaho for the dunes, hit up Force Turbos. They're there all the time. I'm comp cutting. This is sand tires are made with these paddles, and then you can see that there's existing paddles that have been removed. So those are play cut, meaning they get removed for regular use, but for competition, comp cutting is removing the excess rubber in between each paddle section, and you take it all the way down to the cords as much as you can. This tire is most likely gonna drop anywhere from 7 to 9 pounds. And that's a lot considering it's rotating mass that is being dropped. So it goes a lot further than just shedding weight by itself, if that makes sense. Makes the tire a lot easier to turn, being that it's lighter, and it also is raising the paddle up just a little bit for even more hook. So it's gonna grab super hard now. Awesome. Glad to hear it made sense. Now, another cool thing is there's a lot of people that think that comp cutting is, you know, you're damaging the tire or, you know, shortening its lifespan. There is a little bit of truth to that. You are shortening the lifespan, but to be honest, as long as it's a quality tire like these, they're still gonna outlast the ownership of your machine, more than likely. For example, these are made by Sand Tires Unlimited. They're the best in the business. On average, these will last right around, I think it was 8 to 10 seasons. That's 8 to 10 years of use. And that's going off of statistics based on your average user. Obviously, there's gonna be, you know, some people that get more, some people that get less. My grandpa, for example, he had the same set for 18 years. They last forever. Especially when they're stored correctly and you're not an idiot. But what's cool is when you comp cut them, say the average user gets 8 to 10 years out. I know guys that have gotten 5 years, going on 6 years, out of the same set that are comp cut. Now that's saying something, considering most people that get these comp cut for competition, they only use them for 1 or 2 seasons, and then they get rid of them, whether they sell them secondhand to someone else, and that's where data starts to get messed up or hard to tell. But Sand Tires Unlimited is a good quality brand. They're made last so long is because it's a true 4-ply tire, which, if you're familiar with tires in the sand, it's meant to have a 2-ply tire. So these are double the strength, and funny enough, they're twice as light. Tell me how that makes sense. That's the difference between American-made and China-made tires. You got China-made tires that are 2-ply. They say they're 4-ply rated, but yet they weigh way more. They also have a crappy compound in rubber and don't work that well. When you get a good quality tire and then you comp cut it all the way down to the cord, you can rest assured knowing that it's still gonna last. Even though you're taking the excess rubber and protection away, you still have 2 extra layers, the important layers that the competitors don't. So, today's fun fact, Sand Tires Unlimited, simply the best. They're the greatest brand out there. So make sure that's what you're looking for your side-by-side, buggies, trucks, whatever you're taking out to the sand. What else we got? A normal tire, just like this, play cut, I've seen them last as long as 20 years. And that's regular use, and that was personally, my grandpa had them for 18 years, and then we got him a new set, and funny enough, I had a friend that took his old set and put them on his buggy, so they're still in use. But, so 20 years, they last a very, very long time. Comp cut like this, you can expect, you know, an average of like 5 years if you're taking care of them. That means obviously you don't run these on the street, you don't run them in the dirt, you run them in the sand. Yeah, very long time. Like I said, built in America. There is a difference in quality. There's definitely a difference in quality. And it's crazy. There's a lot of companies that often try to imitate. No one's been able to duplicate. There's a couple companies that have really good products, but they're no longer in business. And they made good tires, but they all had defects somewhere. Like there was one, I won't say the brand name, but they were the closest. They were the closest brand to Sand Tires Unlimited, and they lasted a very long time. However, the sidewalls were so thin on all of their tires that they would begin to crack very early, and so it would cause issues and problems. Still a great tire, but unfortunately not as good. So also, the other cool thing is, if you compare this to a buffed tire, so the other brands like Scat Track, Sandcraft, Rogue, all the companies that buff tires down instead, they still can't get as light as comp cutting because they can't go low enough. You see, they have to have a certain amount of rubber still on so that they can get the tires to vulcanize and glue on. Otherwise, if you try to vulcanize straight to the cords, they rip off. They don't have enough. So these are way better. Hell yeah. American made, baby. And I get the pleasure of working on them all the time. Making them better, faster, lighter. I still have 2 more tires to go. So I'll probably keep the video on for the next one. We'll see how that goes. If you have more questions, keep them coming. But just because it's a long process and I don't want a boring, super long video, probably won't keep it on the whole time. But I will show you the finished. So here's the 2 that I've done so far. I'm gonna turn this around real quick. Very lightweight, very even. Yeah, these things are gonna hook up hard. Look how big that is. Those paddles are huge. I got the old girl up right now. I was doing some work on the wheels, had them sent out to a buddy to get had to get my holes welded up and redone because I had one come undone and started to ream itself out, unfortunately. Also, this thing's pretty cool while I'm up and around. This is a Predator X18. This is a pretty cool car. I've been watching these for years. I gotta fill up that tire back there, but other than that, this thing is turnkey, ready to rip. I took it out to the dunes not that long ago. These things are incredible cars. If you're familiar with them, you'll know that they are a CVT belt drive. So just like a side-by-side. In fact, this was like the original side-by-side before side-by-sides were a thing. These came out about the same time as the Rhinos. So very early on, I mean, this thing was built to go tackle Baja. Anyways, it's pretty fun. I've had an eye on them just because they're super cool cars. They're made factory to just go straight out into off-road racing. They have a great amount of travel. Shocks work extremely well. These ones they're old and they need to be revalved a little bit. It has an Ecotech motor in it, and it's naturally aspirated, so probably an honest like 150 to 160 horsepower, not very much, but if I'm being honest, this thing blew my mind. CVT, I'm not a fan of them just because I like to shift. I like the 3-pedal action, but I'm going to be honest with you. This thing had, even with 150, 160 horsepower, there wasn't a dune out there that this couldn't climb because it allowed it to stay at the perfect RPM all the time. And it got power to the ground extremely well. So, very impressed with it. This is not a car that I'm going to be hanging on to. I'm actually going to be selling this pretty soon. But it's been a lot of fun, and the only reason I got it was I wanted to try it. I wanted to experience it. I've seen them for years and just wanted to know if they were, worth it, if they were good. I've owned, I don't know, well over 30 different sand cars at this point, and I just had to get one just to try it, and I can say they're pretty awesome. They flow super good through the bumps. Like I said, power is consistent. So yeah, they're anyways, if anybody's interested, send me a message or whatever, because I am selling it. It's not perfect just because it's old, but most buggies all have their own characteristics and personalities, and this one's it handles very, very well. Anyways, on to the next tire, which will be that one over there. These 1650s are made for 12-inch wide wheels or 15s. And I squeeze them onto a 10, and it's hot. There we go. So it's a workout, to say the least. And trying not to burn yourself on it. second, it'll shut off. Tire is perfectly hot. What's up, dude? Yeah, we're just doing a quick video right now, showing people how to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, what are you up to?
Just was seeing if you were done yet.
Oh, almost. I've got this and one more tire after.
Okay.
How hot is perfect? That's a good question. Tires normally get heated up to right at about 275. It can get as hot as 300, right around there. 275 is right at about the sweet spot where it's not overcooked, it's plenty hot, it'll last, it'll be hot enough, long enough, so that I can get all the way through the tire. The difference between trying to cut a cold tire and a hot tire is literally like, if it was cold, this is about how fast I would be going the whole time, and I would be pushing as hard as I could go. With it being hot, it cuts smooth like butter. There we go. My phone overheated. Yeah, sorry guys, my phone overheated, so it tried to shut off. So hopefully we can get a little bit longer. There we go. So anyways, not sure if it caught the answer or not, but the question was how hot is perfect? And that would be right at about 275 degrees is like the ideal mark. We've taken tires up to 300 and they don't melt or burn down or anything. The other important thing is how long you have them on there for. So I have a 2-burner setup, so I can heat up 2 tires at the same time. I put them on there for about half an hour each, and it's perfect because to do 1 tire takes about 15 to 20 minutes depending on the tire and if it's properly heated. So the most important thing is just letting it heat soak. And the other cool thing is when you have the tire heated up properly, you don't have to turn your gun up to the highest setting, because this is a heated gun too. And it's pressure activated, so there's a button in there. As soon as pressure is on it, it instantly heats up. So the blade is almost red hot. And you'd think that would be enough, but doing it just with the blade not heated up definitely isn't enough. And then got to make sure it stays sharp too, because it does dull down quite a bit. But if you guys need any tire recommendations for your machine, whether that be a Sandrail, side by side, even a truck, feel free to reach out. I give recommendations all the time, and they are the same recommendations that Sand Tires Unlimited gives. So for example, if you have a brand new Pro R and it's stock, the best tire option, hands down, is going to be a 33 Sandblaster with a #1 paddle. And on the front, there's a couple tires that work really well, and your driving style will determine what's a better option. For example, if you run 4-wheel drive, the best tire is going to be the 33 Prodigy, hands down. Best tire out there for that car in 4-wheel drive. If you're running 2-wheel drive and you like to slide and all that, I would actually recommend going with a 1250, or sorry, wrong tire, 1075 by 15 Razor Blaster. That tire is fantastic. It's got 4 steering ribs on it. It cuts right through the bumps and actually smoothens up your ride even more. And because of how heavy the Pro R is, it tends to push through the corners and get a lot of understeer or oversteer. And with the 1075 15s, it absolutely eliminates that. Wherever you point that steering wheel, it's gonna go. And it's very smooth. The other cool thing about that tire is you can have it comp cut. So the 1075 by 15 is a very heavy tire. It was made for mid-sized Sandrails originally. That tire weighs about 37 to 38 pounds, very heavy for a front tire. But, okay, back again. My phone's overheating where I've got it placed, so it's not gonna stay on, but anyways, I'm gonna turn this around just for a second here. Hold that. And then come over here. So, okay, all done. Don't move it. Looking good, clean cuts. On a couple spots that dug in, and it was on the crosshatch, or right here. So this is a 4-ply tire where it overlaps right here. You can see the strand all the way across. That's a 5th ply, technically, where it overlaps. So totally fine, not gonna do any damage there. Anyways, that'll conclude our video for the day, since my phone's just gonna keep overheating. It's like, you know how hot it is? Is it 90? We're in the 90s right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 90. And I'm in the shop, so the sun's beating right down on it, so we get extra hot. But anyways, 3 out of 4 tires are done. stack tires, and I got one more I'm about to pull out of the oven and get it back up to going. But anyways, thanks for joining in. Any comments or direct messages. Also, go follow Sandrail. Go give me sand tire base. Sometimes on the vehicles too, but on Hp.Habits, it's Hp.Habits. That's where you're going to get mostly sand car content. A good majority of the cars that are driven, and then on occasion I'll go and do some build breakdowns, interviews. There's a lot of really good stuff on there. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to send me some questions or comments.